welcome to the circus. This is the second iteration of the Ragnarok book club. And if you watched the first one, thank you. And also thank you for coming back because, got dicey there for a minute. No, just so we're going to talk a little bit about who we are again, just in case you missed the first one, which if you did, hit up the YouTube channel. You got to see it to believe it. So we are going to start with Miss Kelly. Kelly, let's talk to you.
Yay, I'm Kelly Scott Reed. I'm the Assistant Editor-in-Chief for Ragnarok Press. I am a frustrated work-related writer, meaning if I have work to do at my job, that's when I start writing, like just to not do my job. And I am a proud...
Great pieces come out of that.
Yeah, some great fun stuff. This is Juno. She's going to be probably making our lives miserable for the next couple minutes. Go ahead. You guys next.
All right, Miss Marianne, let's talk about you.
Or not, but anyway. Marianne Beretsky Peterson. I'm the lead editor here at Ragnarok, and I don't like talking about myself, so that's all she's got. So that's all I got.
That's it. All right, so that leads us to me. Hello, my name is Tiffany M. Stores, if you want to be really formal. I am the editor-in-chief at Ragnarok. I am the social media person. I am the graphic designer. I read, I edit, I write a little bit in my spare time. I try to keep everything moving as best I can. Reason being because this is my baby. And Kelly midwifed it. And Marianne is helping to rear
She's the nanny.
Yeah, she's nanny.
I'm like fun aunt, maybe.
Okay, she's the fun aunt.
More than nanny.
She's the do. Wait a minute. Tiffany's the do everything king.
Yes.
We're the do nothing.
We're the do
She's
nothing.
the do everything king. So let's just say that.
Which is really funny because I'm like probably the laziest person alive. So the fact that I find all this momentum, it just scrounged it up from somewhere is impressive. So just to give you a little bit of background, I'm not going to go into everything right now, but one of the reasons that I started this is because I'm very passionate about writing. I'm also a very avid reader, always have been both of those things since I was 5 years old. And I don't like the concept of traditional publishing for a lot of reasons. And what I wanted to do with this was something a little bit disruptive, a little bit different, kind of enter into an indie market and see what I can shake up. The most important thing to me, and I think to all of us, is always amplifying the voices of our writers, no matter what. So that brings us to book club and why we are doing this specific thing. So the way that this works is that about once a month, give or take, depending on our schedules, we are going to pick a book written by an indie author. It could be a collection of poems, it could be a novel, it could be, flash collection, it really doesn't matter. Self-published, indie published, doesn't matter. We are going to pick one. We are going to read it. I'm sorry, my phone just went off. That was very unprofessional. I tried to very slyly silence that, but it did not happen. So I'm just going to own it at this point because I'm on camera. So anyways, bunny trail. We are going to pick an indie author. We are going to get the book. We are going to read the book. We are going to talk about what we love about the book. And we are going to kind of amp it up a little bit with what is within our power. That being said, if you have any suggestions, maybe you've written a book, maybe you've read one recently that really blew your mind, we need to know about it, please submit it to us. I'm going to put all the links in the description so that you can contact us. I'll put our email address in there, send a smoke signal, I don't know, do whatever you got to do. Get the information to us because we do want to know. We'd like to keep these going. It's fun for us, and hopefully it is both fun and beneficial to the authors. So, thank you. All right, so we're gonna take a minute to talk a little bit about what's happened to us since our last book club, in case anyone cares.
Roll your eyes any harder, Kelly?
Nothing.
I guess we're not gonna take a minute to talk about what's going on in our lives.
I'm teasing you.
Listen, I attempted to structure this, guys.
I love
really
it.
did.
She's awesome.
All right,
she keeps
so-
us in line.
Kelly, we're going to start with you. Did anything cool happen over the course of the last month since these people have seen us last?
Well, we read a lot of great stuff.
Yes,
my
we did.
gosh,
Yes,
So that was fantastic, and it feels like there's this really great momentum and a positive energy, including with people who've been published, who are continuing to support and help people on the social medias
Support each other.
support each other,
100%.
which has been super great. We're seeing people's reactions to the work, that they're actually taking the time to read. That was really fun to look at.
That's something that I've noticed a lot recently, is that our writers also tend to serve as our readers, in the sense that when an issue comes out, they all sort of take the time to read everything and then talk to each other about it, which is amazing. Because, you know, sometimes social media is like screaming into the void a little bit. You're kind of, you know, is anybody, like, people like stuff, or if it's funny, they'll like, but you don't know if they're reading it really. But what?
Nothing. She's just causing, like, over there, causing trouble.
I'm trying not to.
Knowing my ADD is in full display, whenever you make a move, I'm like, what's she doing?
Because I'm
There's only
Children.
one mom
back to
animal.
there's a song for everything, and I gotta stop singing people's
Yes.
songs.
Well, if you want to get sued, you don't have to.
Well, I'd rather not. So
Okay, all right. But yes, that is 100% something that I have noticed as well and really appreciate. Anything else? Which is also
Just walking the dog,
walking the dog,
avoiding COVID.
which is a
I've avoided it for 2 years, which is like an amazing. I think we all have avoided
It
it.
is.
For
I
2
thought I didn't last week.
Yeah,
I thought I didn't. Well, I may not have realistically.
yeah. We just have.
I don't know.
Well, all my
but-
tests said negative, and it only lasted a day. But
Right.
I was down.
Yeah.
I got nothing
Which is
done last
scary.
weekend.
Like,
But
you
maybe
don't-
that was just life.
You don't want to. You don't want to be down.
That's a normal Saturday.
Maybe that
for
was
me.
just Saturday.
You don't want to be down
Lots
for
of
the
naps.
count during COVID
Right.
at all, because
No.
you have that
Yeah.
fear of, okay, well, now it's come for me.
Okay. How about you guys?
Marianne, anything?
I just said I was really sick last weekend.
Marianne
I
was
didn't
really
get anything done, but it wasn't COVID.
But it was not COVID.
It's not COVID. My dog did not get walked because of that. I am the only dog walker in the house.
That sucks.
It does.
You gotta start sharing them duties.
I try.
Make them do it. Crack that whip.
Oh, don't say that. That's a song now. Correct.
First of all,
Devo.
first of all, it's been a song. It's not a song.
No, far from it.
Secondly, I think it's okay to say the phrase, but when you
Okay.
start singing it,
Like
we
I
enter
just
into-
did.
we enter into court. Court, Ken.
I gave him credit. Sorry. I told
We
you.
do not own Devo, nor do we own the rights to any of their music.
Got it.
FYI. Just in case anyone cares.
I'll shut up.
All right, so that leads to me. I think we already covered what's been going on with me. I turned 35 this morning at 9:15.
Oh, 9:15.
I
Shows
made
the
it.
same time.
I made it to 35.
Woohoo.
And yeah, just a lot of press stuff going on. A lot of really exciting stuff. A lot of me trying to come up with cool ideas. I don't know why you're laughing.
A lot of me. Did you just stop? Like,
No, a lot
It's
of
now the month of Tiffany. Now, mind you, there's only 1 day left, but it's now the month.
yeah, so we're gonna have to get a lot of partying done because I haven't done any.
You
But,
guys, they
oh,
fell.
thank you. So that's kind of where I have been at. And of course, reading the very exciting book that we have ready for you today.
Yes.
Marianne, would you like to do the honors? This is
Get my van in.
yes, perfect. This is Postcards from Ragnarok by Katy Naylor. And we, obviously Katy's a friend of the press. She's published with us before. So we are familiar with her. We also, get the opportunity to actually talk and interact with her, as I'm sure many of you also do. So we're going to be going through some of our favorite things about this book and talking about it, and we are going to convince you that it's amazing, but you may not need that much convincing because it is pretty amazing. So, ready, set, go. We'll start with Kelly.
Okay, so I had a few favorite parts about this collection. One of the poems I loved was the Kraken. Now, I'm big into the octopus thing. My husband has a Kraken tattoo, so it's kind of funny.
I didn't know that.
His entire leg.
Oh my God,
And
never
it
saw
wraps
that,
around his
so-
leg.
That's probably why. Yeah.
So, I loved that particular poem because it was a reflection for me on the undercurrents and the seeds of deceit and despair sown in relationships that are not brought to light until it's too late.
Right.
I love how she relates reality, what's happening now, with this mythology that I'm completely unfamiliar with.
Same.
But totally understood the mythology based on what she was writing about, which I thought was really cool. So that's what brings me to the other one, Midgard, basically tying the everyday discovery of the vicious pointlessness of our everyday to folklore, which I thought was a very clever thing that I wrote, and I know it must have been stoned when I wrote it. But it was really, there are so many times I was reading it aloud to Rob and going, do you see how that relates? Do you understand how she's bringing in what's going on in life right now with
That
this
correlation
So it almost like, you know,
is the clincher.
mythology was kind of created, from what I know, to explain human emotion, to explain human situations. So it makes perfect sense that it would fit perfectly with the type of poetry she's doing. It's really great. Let me see if I have more. Oh, maybe I don't. Go ahead.
All right, Marianne.
Well, I am far from an expert on the Norse mythology, but I have always enjoyed it. I like mythology in general.
Mm-hmm.
When my boys were younger, and they would read like the Rick Riordan books start with Percy Jackson and the Olympians, and he actually did do an Egyptian series and a Norse series, and I would read some of them with the boys so we could talk about them, and I always enjoyed that too. So I have a little bit of knowledge about him. Don't know how to pronounce any of the words, that's for sure.
Just Googled it. Still don't
But
know.
so I already had I already enjoy the mythology. So to tie it in, like you were saying, with the everyday and everyday events and things we're going through, I enjoyed that as well. I chose my favorite. I think was, and again, not sure how to say this, Nastrans. And how she actually, that one literally ties the two worlds together with the line that I'd steady myself, but I know my hand will rest on scales where the bricks should be. I just loved that.
Yeah. Incredible.
Yeah.
Really love that.
That was my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I guess I'll go. No, I'm just kidding. So my specific favorite piece, and again, I'm probably butchering these names. I apologize. I did Google it. Is Guthrun. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. And really the reason for that actually mirrors what you both have said, which is that I love the way that these mirror a modern human experience. I love the way that Katy took the time to equate them to emotions felt in our daily lives. She didn't just write about the myth. She actually personalized that specific emotion and made that line so clear that ties the two together. I personally read for emotional connection often. There are times when I'm reading for education, which is a little bit different, but when it comes to poetry and prose, I'm usually reading to find that emotional connection. And admittedly, I don't know anything about Norse mythology. I didn't know a thing about it before I picked up the book. I was completely unfamiliar. After reading it, I think that not only do I have a firmer grasp of the stories, but also what they represent emotionally and how that applies to all of us. So I think that was kind of a mutual takeaway that we had, was just the way that it pertained to our own personal experiences.
It's kind of a magic trick to be able to take something that people do not know
absolutely
about and make it go, and then go, oh, that was like
that was a gut punch.
Yeah. Like that's kind of wonderful. So great job, Katy, for that.
Absolutely.
Well, for Katy, for me, she brings the poems home, which I really love. And what I mean by that is sometimes when I read poetry, it has its pattern, it goes a certain place. But I love let me get this idea down in one line at the end to just make you, like your aha moment.
Yes.
They land hard at the end. And I'm never left with a feeling that the poems are unsure. Now, I know that's a personal thing that I like to understand very deeply. I like to have it smack me in the head like I have not heard that before, or this is a surprise.
Right.
When something is left a little too undone,
Nuance.
that it just nuance. Yeah, you know me and nuance. I'm a pretty black and white human being. But for me, that's what I loved about her writing style. I felt that they landed I understood, and it made me feel something without too much.
Absolutely.
Like, what do you think at the end? I don't want to be told. I want to be told what I want to hear their message loud and clear.
Right.
Okay. Sorry. Go for it.
What do you
Talk
say?
too much. I talk too much.
No, it's good. This is
Babble.
what we're here for.
Okay.
We're here to talk. Okay, go ahead, Marianne.
So what I like about Katy's writing style is her use of imagery and how it relates, not just in the Ragnarok, the Postcards from Ragnarok, but her other writing that we've seen in, especially the poem All at Sea, which was one of the poems that we had. Yes, in our launch, our inaugural publication. And where it was, the imagery was all very vivid about a ship at sea, being destroyed at sea, basically. And but it also tied into feeling anxiety at a cocktail party with, and I love that about her writing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It kind of conveys the feeling of, because you can relate it to two separate instances, it relates the feeling more like, oh, that's how that feels, like this. And I think it's really cool. I don't know if that made any sense.
It makes sense to me. It makes perfect sense to me.
Sometimes the words come out and...
Listen, we had a little wine.
I didn't have a
wine.
single sip.
Kelly did not have any wine.
But this is all me. They have to get a little tipsy to be as stupid as they're now coming down to my level a little bit, maybe.
No, I don't think that's true.
Go ahead.
I love her use of imagery both in this book and in all of her writing that I've read.
Well, as it turns out, I had exactly the same point, and we did not share notes, by the way. So I actually noted that the imagery, which is seen both in Postcards from Ragnarok and in her other published work, her ability to succinctly paint a clear mental portrait, and also, again, builds a bridge between that and the emotion of something else, like really drive that home, I think is the mark of a talented poet. And I believe that is what she is. So that was my favorite thing about her style also, is always the imagery.
Yep.
What we'll do is about the Lit Mag. What is your favorite thing about Katy's Lit Mag, Voidspace zine? Do you have a favorite piece on it, and what's your take on the overall vibe? So I do have a favorite piece, and you guys mentioned it, and I can't remember the name of the person.
Which one was it?
Was it B.F. Jones? The one, I don't know. My brain is so fried with the technology.
Was it Arden Hunter?
Arden Hunter, that's it. I'm
Okay.
like, where? It's not. We were talking about a bunch of different things, but I love that piece. However, the majority of it for me, I'm not the best with like visual stuff. I really have a hard time with it. Like Sudoku, I'm really excited because I can do it now. Or like a word scramble or stuff like that. So I kind of avoid stuff that's a little interactive like that, but I didn't avoid it because I wanted to see it and I thought it was really great.
Yeah.
And interesting. Some I understood, some I did not, some I got, some I did not. But that's just me. It's just how I think it's a great format. Interactive with all the different, how people take information in so many different ways.
Absolutely.
And conveying poems that way. Go ahead.
Arden's piece was my favorite too. Navigating. Is it navigating or I don't want to say the right name.
I know. I
think you're
poem
right.
that was set up like a maze.
Yeah.
That you could look at that piece for an hour and come up with a bunch of different outcomes, and they're all amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that piece. That was my first one I picked out that I just loved. I did check out all the other ones, and some of them were very cool. Again, like Kelly, some I got, some I didn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed. It was definitely something I'm not used to. I had no idea what to expect with interactive literature.
Think it exists anywhere else.
No.
I'm just going to tell you.
Bravo, Katy.
Yeah, that was one of my.
awesome.
Bringing that.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
That
awesome.
was one of my main points. Was that it's one of a kind. Her first digital issue was released recently, and I remember seeing it and then being up at like 5 a.m. in bed, like I usually am, going through it. And I had talked to Katy a little bit about her vision before she launched the Voidspace, and I had an idea of what she was going for. I did not know how she was going to pull it off. Like, I am technologically dumb and also old. So what happens is...
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, all right. Tell it to my hips, friends. Tell it to my hips. So I didn't really understand, like, how can you make writing interactive? Juno doesn't know either.
No,
She's just a pain in the balls.
she's waiting to hear the answers.
I'll be right back.
So what I love the most about it is that... What'd you do? Okay, so the main point for me with Katy's Voidspace zine is that it gives the author creative freedom, and it also allows the reader to feel like they play a role almost in the creative process, which is not something that you get from just reading in general. Like you are the recipient of it, but you're not a part of creating it. So I think that's what makes it really different. Also, I got to keep clicking through things. And let me tell you something, at 5 a.m., that's very exciting. It's exciting for me anyway. But it reminded me of video games, and I'm not allowed to play those very often. My niece is 6, and she used to beg me. She'd be like, please, can we play Minecraft? Can we play whatever? So I'm like, okay. Right, Juno? And so I would play with her, and then eventually she took it away from me, and she told me that I didn't know what I was doing, so I'm no longer allowed. I'm no longer asked.
Me
much
either.
less
I'm never allowed to play.
So
Sit down.
So
Put me down.
so we're just gonna. Juno's really gonna help bring in this announcement for us.
Yes.
We're gonna announce the next book that we're gonna do, probably in about a month or so, depending on again what we have going on and the state of the world and the state of the union and the state of the state. But it is going to be actually a book that Katy had nominated herself, which is Artifice by B.F. Jones. I'm super excited about this. We recently published B, so it's awesome to be able to have that as a baseline. Not a requirement, by the way, but it's a baseline. And so it's a collection of flash and microfiction, I believe. So we're going to really be able to dig into some, storyline stuff, and I'm excited. So hopefully she's also excited. And that's all I've got. Does anyone else have anything to send the people off with?
Yeah, this was a great inaugural book club, pretty much. We did
Our
one.
second inaugural.
No, this is
was
where
a
our
real
mission.
first-
This is
was
our
a
mission.
real first
The first
one.
one was let's do this. Let's see how it works.
We tried to make it a little bit more
And it wasn't like
organized.
it wasn't a small publisher. It was a regular. Like this is like inaugural.
Yes.
Okay.
This is what it feels
Alright.
like. This feels like the first.
Well, there's been less singing, also.
There it has.
We have been winding our P's and Q's very much with
Yeah,
our.
I know, and I don't quite know what to do with that because I was expecting something more raucous.
Well, I wanted to make sure we took everyone seriously. That we took Kate.
I know.
So I wasn't going to break into like the age of Aquarius like I was going to. I think it's public domain.
Is it?
Let's look it up. I think that Age of Aquarius, it's been around for so long, and it's also a musical score. That certain musical scores come into the public domain after a certain time,
Okay.
where they can be used. At least that's Rob told me, and that may be our other one too that we were singing.
So you're
Sisters
offering
are
to
doing it. So let's sing the dawning of age.
Are you offering to serenade me with?
This
I don't know.
is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. I'm not doing
We're just playing.
We're just playing.
Oh,
No.
trapezes.
Yes, trapezes, crazy people. I'm super excited about the next book club.
Me
I'm
too.
feeling a little more confident, and we'll get our technology down. I don't know how I started doing the
Listen.
technology.
I'm buying an iPad. Is what's happening. That's all we need.
Because Kelly's like, yeah, no, I'm not good. I have too much stuff.
Well,
on
no,
my-
it's probably just a hard drive issue. I mean, any of us could experience that. It's not a big deal.
You did better than I could.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Check the description for links to our website, links to purchase Katy's book, links to check her out on social media, and links to everything else, our email, whatever I can throw in there. I mean, I'll send you links to whatever you want. You want the weather? You want your local news? I'll try to figure it out. Okay? All right? Bye, everyone.